Hi Sarah, thank you very much for coming in today on this World Menopause Day event. I'm really interested in hearing how you identified the fact that you were having symptoms that were consistent with a diagnosis of the menopause, and maybe talking a little bit about how you went about trying to get some help that was appropriate for you. So could you maybe just tell everyone, if you don't mind, if it's not a sensitive question, how old you are?
55.
Lovely. And Sarah, when did you first start to think that you might be having symptoms of the menopause?
Well, obviously there's an age thing, isn't there? So it's fairly logical, but I think I didn't really have any symptoms at all till I was early 50s. Okay, so yeah, 52ish I think.
Yeah.
And really haven't had that many symptoms.
Yeah. So it's slightly later than the average. So we know women can start to have symptoms of the perimenopause, which to all intents and purposes are the same as the menopause, from around the mid-40s. And certainly anyone that has menopause beyond the age of 45 we consider as normal. The average in the UK is 51, so 52 is a little bit older. And what symptoms did you have?
Well, mainly that I've been chasing my loss of running performance for about 3 years, I suppose. Starting about 2 years ago, really. I'm a reasonably decent club runner, and really just couldn't meet my normal performance. And I've chased it through physiology, through exercise performance labs, through the GPs, through private, all sorts of things like that. Yeah. And it really then occurred to me that actually this could be something to do with my hormones. Yeah. So I needed to go and chase it. There was no other particular driving force to look into it, simply because I've never had hot flushes, my periods were still going. I've never really had any other, apart from being a bit warm at night. Yeah. That was it really. So there was no other drive to do it. So I thought I'd just give it a go and popped in to see you guys. Well, my own doctor refused to, because I didn't have any symptoms, he refused to give me any HRT. I had asked him and he said no. So I came here to give it a go.
So it looks like you did a lot of research, Sarah, to look at potential reasons, and I think one of the things that people are not appreciative of is it can affect also, we have estrogen receptors throughout our body, and it can affect all manner of systems, and lots of women actually get joint aches and pains and are misdiagnosed with osteoarthritis or fibromyalgia, but actually the skeleton and the muscles are affected also by your estrogen. Yeah. And how did you find that journey trying to get help?
Well, it was pretty easy, really, in that it just required me to just, jump across the bridge and say, right, let's try this, because I've got nothing to lose at that stage. Yeah. Just walked through the door, really. Actually, a friend of mine came here, and I didn't realise this place had existed, and then she said, there's a new place in Stratford, so I thought, well, I'll go and give them a try and see what happens.
And prior to that, had you had any blood tests, any other tests?
Yeah, loads, absolutely loads. Yeah.
What did you have done?
I had full blood screening, which I did pay for myself just to see where I was. I come from a equine physiology background and reproductive physiology, bizarrely. So I have a fairly good handle on what was going on anyway. So I needed to just get some sort of blood profile for myself. Yeah. So I knew I was perimenopausal all the time. I knew my estrogen was dropping off. I knew my testosterone dropped off. Yeah. However, it was difficult to pin that to there's no research into athletic performance in menopausal women. So there's no link to do that. So consequently, yes, I had a pretty good idea of where I was going with it, and then just walked through.
So we don't use it, as I say, above the age of 45. Our NICE guidelines say we don't have to do blood tests to make a diagnosis of menopause, because we go on the age of the lady and the symptoms, and usually a change in periods, which you didn't actually have. But sometimes we do other tests to exclude other causes for fatigue, like anemia and underactive thyroid gland. There's a lot of overlap around the menopause and perimenopause with an underactive thyroid gland in ladies. So we like to obviously exclude that as a cause, first of all, because that's very easily treated. So we would often recommend that women have those done. But beyond that, they're not usually necessary. But you raised a very good point there. You talked about testosterone as well, Sarah. And testosterone, as we know, is very much implicated in performance. That's why it's banned by all competitive athletes in the use of their sport, because it gives an unfair advantage to them. And can you say what happened when she came here?
Well, there was obviously the obvious thing to do was to try HRT. So yes, I've been started on your normal program, really, to start estrogen at a reasonably low dose, then have a repeat blood test, and then I started testosterone after about 4 months, I suppose. I have a fairly high dosage of estrogen. It turned out that my estrogen levels were quite, it was quite hard to get them back up to what was considered normal. Although one thing I think everybody that's aged, in their 30s should have a base blood test done, because how do we know what's normal for us until we start the whole blooming process of menopause?
The problem with the blood tests is they're not very reliable. So they fluctuate throughout the month, and it depends at what point in the month you take that blood test. So we know that the levels when you're evolving an egg, when you've ovulated an egg, and then afterwards are quite different. So it's quite difficult in younger women to do those blood profiles, which is why we don't recommend that. We do use blood tests to diagnose premature ovarian insufficiency, but that involves two specific follicle stimulating hormone levels taken about 4 to 6 weeks apart to make the diagnosis. And the reason we want to do that in the under 40s is because it's really important to get their symptoms under control, but also to look after their long-term health, or cardiovascular disease risk, their osteoporosis, etc. And which progestogen did you have?
Whatever it's called, the tablet variety.
You take it at night time.
Yeah, I tried all sorts of things really, because I think it had a strange effect on me. But I'm still trying to research how that's going best, really. I'm playing around with it a bit too. Because I tried the 2 tablets a day, I tried 1 tablet a day, I tried using it as pessary. None of them particularly, I found particularly easy. So, and I'm sort of kind of working on the basis that you don't have to have a period every month. So
you're varying it to meet your individual needs,
a little bit,
is really important for people to know about. And have you found, how's it changed your performance, Sarah?
Well, I think it's improving things. I'll tell you, there are some things though that I would say sells this enormously to me, are that for someone like myself, it's obviously a very gradual decline into menopause, and you don't realise it until you stop it. So there are things that have enormous implications. My skin is amazing. My immunity's improved enormously. I haven't had a cold for 18 months, I suppose. And I think there's, I sleep better. There's just there's really little things that I would never have done it for are a benefit. It feels like you're being pushed back to normality, and that general fatigue thing that you get is completely gone. I don't have to stretch after I run anymore and that sort of stuff. Excellent. So the actual performance side of things, the jury's still out. I'm getting fit. It's not been as miraculous as it should be, and there are periods of time where I'm on fire, and I can't pin that down to which hormone it is and what the level is, because there's obviously no LH spike or anything like that to give me any indication about it. But certainly, I would. I'm very happy with all.
So you've had lots of vicarious gains.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that for me, what makes me say to my friends, just go and try it, because actually, what can you lose? There's nothing to lose.
Absolutely, I think that's a really key message to give to women. Absolutely. What we do is we do an assessment. Obviously, we make sure there's no contraindications to HRT, but we do know from the research that for women under the age of 60 or within 10 years of the menopause, the benefits of HRT outweigh the risks. And actually, we'll say to women, it may be your hormones, it may not, it may be something else, but give it a try. Give it a try for 3 months and see what happens with it. Because it's very safe. And then we review it after 3 months and see how things are.
Exactly. Yeah. We seem to be implicated that women are destined to want to suffer, and actually
we don't help ourselves with that either.
Being victims, so just get on with it.
Hopefully this has helped some women out there. Thanks very much, Sarah, for coming in today.